Hello and welcome to the Leaderonomics show. Our guest for today is Mr. Fang Kai, who is the MD of VHR Consultancy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Alright, so maybe we could get to know you a little bit more. Tell us about yourself, where do you come from, a bit of your background.
Sure. I actually grew up in a small kampong, which is about 30 km away from Keluang. Well, it is a very, very small village.
Right.
So think of today, as of October 2016, the most advanced infrastructure that we have in this kampong is actually one island petrol station.
Oh, wow.
Imagine 30 years ago when I was a small kid. When I grew up, it was very much a place where there's no any mamak store, not much of entertainment. So that being said, it's just a privilege that I have a lot of time to do study,
Right.
a lot of time to do a little bit more readings, plus with the fact that my parents, they were retired teachers. So we always have a little bit more luxury time. Free tuition,
Right.
Library time, do a little bit of, studying, knowledge gathering. So along the journey, it gives me a little bit more towards the, what I want to do. Knowledge is power.
Right.
So in that sense, it makes me feel like, what's my vision? What's my destination? So along the process, it builds my character a little bit more stronger because
Right.
I get a lot of information through studying. So I eventually went into UTM with, reasonably good results into UTM as a chemical engineer.
Right.
Graduated as a chemical engineer. First job as the sales engineer in a US-based multinational company as a sales engineer.
Okay.
And then have a luxury of traveling around the whole Asia. Landed a job at the age of 29 as the country manager in the local listed firm. I was deployed as the country manager in Thailand.
Oh,
Well, it was not a fancy job because my job is to turn around the operations.
I see.
Helping the companies, turning the operations from losses to become profitable.
Right.
I was given a job.
Oh, that sounds so challenging.
Well, especially I didn't speak the language. I don't know the product knowledge, but my job is go for it and make it happen.
Right. What was one thing that is significant for you when you look back at that time?
Well, I think especially when you are being seconded, deployed to a foreign countries, where you don't know about the culture, don't know about the language, what you should do is actually very much into respecting the locals. Understanding what works, what doesn't. Especially at that difficult timing to turn it around because we are fighting against the time pressure.
Right.
So understanding about the business by listening to people, by really understanding what is needed.
Right, and getting their trust as well, yeah? As a sort of outsider.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly, that's the point. To work as a team, you got to trust each other.
Yeah.
That makes the things works.
Right.
So throughout the process, I learned a lot. A year later, I make it happen, and I was being given as one of the youngest top management in the listed firm. But you must be asking me why, where am I now?
Yeah.
It sounds a bit too much different.
It's a little bit different, it is, yeah.
From engineering, corporate turnaround operations, with running assembling plant, to become where I am as a headhunter.
Yes. So what inspired your move and to start off this company?
Well, I think at the end of the day, I would say that there are two folds into it. One is actually I always wanted to become a small little entrepreneur.
All right.
And the second would be always play to my strength, trying to understand what is there, out there, and what I can do better to compete in the ever-changing business world.
Right.
So with this twofold, this is actually a deep inside the burning desire to push me forward. One is to understand what is happening out there. By bridging these two gaps, I finally concluded probably headhunting is something I want to do.
Did you have any prior exposure or experiences with recruitment?
The good thing would be, yes, before this, I was actually a country director in one of the American, USA-based, the recruitment firm.
Right, okay.
So with that, about close to 15 months of training, it comes to me that, it is something I think I can do so good. And ultimately, I think it is calling. So it's kind of calling, I think that, hey, I should start VHR.
Yeah.
So that was where in December 2012, VHR is being formed.
Wonderful. You used the word calling.
Okay.
Yeah, it's quite a big word. to put out there, right? So what
All
does
right.
that mean for you actually? And why do you call this, why do you say that this is a calling for you?
Well, still, I think being a headhunter, it is such a, I wouldn't say noble, but I think it's something very meaningful. Whenever you introduce a very good opportunity to the candidate, and sometimes to a certain extent, candidate wife this year called me and said that, you know, Mr. Low, thank you so much for helping my husband to get a job, because the job, he got retrenched in the oil and gas business.
Okay.
Family needed a job, so then I managed to find him as a key account manager in one of the European-based chemical company. And the wife called out to me, thank you. And to me, I think that, you know, by touching the life positively, I think it's a calling.
You made a difference.
I made a difference. Yes, I think VHR, our vision would be, you know, creating value for better life.
Right.
So this be it to the client, to the candidate, but also at the same time, what is there for VHRian? You know, we need everyone to grow. By growing, you can create value. By creating value, we create a better life.
Right, right. And how do you translate this down to the staff that you work with or to your team?
Well, I think ultimately, being a leader, you need to have a vision. The vision that you're able to, well, not so much into like cast in stone what has to be there, you know, but it's very much into the big picture. What is there for everyone, including me? By giving that big picture, trying to have something, you know, break it out to components level. This is the how, this is the way we are going to get there.
Right.
So by having this big picture, the vision line up for the whole team, I think we can get there.
So to show them where we are going first, and at least they have that understanding and the buy-in.
Yes, exactly. The big picture.
Right.
But the business world is always ever changing, evolving. We have to adapt, right?
Yes, precisely.
So, but still, a big picture must be there.
Right. Okay, wonderful. Okay, we're going to take a short break right now.
All right.
And we'll come back again. Okay, so we'll see you again shortly. Welcome back to the Leaderonomics show. Today with Mr. Low from VHR Consultancy. Right, just now we were talking a little bit about how, you know, you have to give the big picture to employees, and then organizations also have to adapt.
It is.
Because it's an ever-changing industry. Yeah, so what are some strategies you take as a leader to, you know, ensure you are at the forefront, or at least on par with everything else?
Yeah, I very much believe what Darwin has once said, you know, the one who is able to survive is not the strongest, you know, neither the most intelligent, but it's the one that very much adapt to the ever-changing environment. So by giving the big picture, also that where we are leading the company to be. So I've already cast out 3 pillars that I think that will help us. Number 1, it will be digital.
Okay.
Number 2, it will be very much a system. Number 3, training.
Right.
So in this particular line of recruitment business, very much people believe in the consultant, but at the same time, 50% lies on the company.
Yes.
So consultant needs to be very good in understanding the in and out of the industry. So constant training is very much needed to make sure the consultants is very much aware what is happening down there. But at the same time, how the company portray the image is very much rely on the good marketing. So
and companies, you say the companies you're recruiting for?
not really. VHR,
your company,
VHR.
all right. Okay.
So it's very much into constantly giving the message to the public, what we do, what we believe in. That's very much into how we portray in the digital format. And because now it's 21st century, so digital is the key.
Definitely.
Yeah. And last thing is the system. What we believe is that actually put up a very good structured system, so people know what is there. They know initiatively what they need to carry out. Well, again, I need to highlight is ever adapting to the environment. It's just the big pillars, big picture, big dimension we have to focus on. But as and when the tactical, strategic action has to be adapt, evolved accordingly to the environment change.
Right, right. You know, Mr. Lau, you have this motto, You say that think big, start small, and build strong.
All right.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how did this come about?
Sure. Well, I need to admit that, I'm actually a firm believer in learning and training. I also subscribe to Leaderonomics online system.
Thank you very much.
Inside this particular module, there's mentioned, 21st century's leadership.
Yes.
I look through. I think it's very much aligned with what we have been saying, has been always been telling to VHRN. You need to know where's the destination.
Yeah.
The big picture. There's think big.
Yeah.
You need to know where you are right now.
Yeah.
Your humble beginning. What is your strength? What's your weakness? Then start small.
You can start small, yeah.
And you need to know how do you get there and what it takes to make you stronger so that you can compete. There's build strong.
Right.
So you need to know where do you want to go, where you are, and how you're going to get there.
Yeah. Might not be the fastest way, but it has to be the most solid way, yeah?
You're right. I've always been telling VHRN, if this is where you want to go, since you identified this as a destination, either by swimming taking bus or Asia just figure out the way.
Yeah.
The most feasible way. Ultimately, there's a destination.
Yes.
Timeline, we can figure out.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, you got to think big. You got to know where you want to be one day. So very much aligned with the module that we have learned through in the Leaderonomics series.
Oh, okay. Okay, so tapping a little bit from your experiences in recruitment, right?
Sure.
What are some key characteristics that employers today are looking for in candidates?
Well, I think that in general, there must be 3 traits that people have to look to. Well, despite any industry we're going into, but I would say that ASK,
Okay.
asked.
Yeah,
A stands for attitude,
definitely.
skill, and knowledge.
And knowledge, yeah.
Put it myself, when I was in the corporate world, let's say I'm not a headhunter right now. Last time when I recruit, I always look for people with right attitude. With the right attitude, you can always train them. Because skill and knowledge can be trained.
Right,
But what deep inside you
right.
is very hard to be
So
trained.
how do you tell? At interviews, sometimes people put their best foot forward.
This is a question I always ask. Tell me about yourself. What do you want to be 1 year, 3 years, 5 years from now? I want to see how ambitious they are. The moment they say that I want to be this, by the 3rd year, then my next killing question comes. If I'm going to provide you this platform, then you're
Right.
going to lead you there. Are you willing to go for the pay cut to join me? So it has to be tally what you were saying,
Yes,
right?
actually, yeah.
The attitude is not so much about the money. It's not so much about what I can have it now. What I can lead you, that we can build the journey together to lead you there. So along the process, a lot of candidates has been filtered. Those who probably stay put and want to go for the 3rd, 4th interview with me are the ones that comes with a very strong attitude. I think I can do it. Just guide me through. Instead of what is my remuneration package right now.
Right.
So I think, of course, there are many things we talk about, integrity, we talk about hardworking,
Yes.
whatever it is. But first and foremost, do you have that right positive attitude to bring you there?
Amazing.
Well,
Right.
to add on, Google,
Yes.
in the latest book I've read, the Laszlo Bock, the writer, he's actually the person in charge for the recruitment, or rather the whole HR function of Google. He said at the beginning stage of Google, when there's a startup, they even recruit people for those who are willing to join at a pay cut.
Right. Okay.
So they filtered those who comes with a big vision.
Yeah. They're in for the vision and the long-term goal.
Exactly.
All right, wonderful.
Exactly.
Okay, we're going to take another short break right now, and we'll be back again soon. Okay, we're back again on the Leaderonomics show with Mr. Low from VHR Consultancy. Okay, for this segment,
All
we're
right.
going to do some thinkonomic questions, and you've
Wow.
already selected 3 cards.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to ask you in random. You don't know which one comes first.
All right.
All right, let's go. Okay, if you could choose an age, how old would you be and why?
I think probably I would go back to 24, 25, somewhere about, about more than a decade from now. I started my business when I was about 25 years old.
Right.
Yeah. Obviously, I failed. But if I can be a little bit more wiser, then if I can choose the time machine to turn it 25, there as well. So I think that I would be a little bit more, use the word respecting people.
All right.
I would probably use the word that I will be more trusting people, and most importantly, trying to be a little bit more humble.
Okay.
Share with you about my experience.
Yeah.
When I was 22 years old, I have a very good life. I would say take roller coaster, for example. You know, when I was 21, 22, I was having a job as a regional guy traveling around the whole Asia. I could have my breakfast in Kuala Lumpur, lunch in Hong Kong, and dinner have a very nice champagne in a bar in Shanghai. This is my life.
Yeah.
And remember that I was just 22.
22. Yeah.
It was a very good life. But it built my character so confidence, to a certain extent, confidence more, overconfidence, arrogant. So this was the tipping point. That whenever you're overconfidence, arrogant, that's where you're going to go down. And there was I. I was literally thinking that, you know, I was a king. You know, I'm not respecting people. I'm a little bit more commanding my team member instead of giving them advice, mentoring.
Right.
So to a certain extent, you know, I don't think I can do this job because everyone rebellious. And they will think that, hey, this is a young chiku,
Yeah.
you know, young
Why
manager.
should we take
Is-
instruction from you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially they are twice as old as my age when I was, you know, 24, 25. So I think that, you know, it was very much into a arrogant kills me. But because of that learning, because of that downfall, it makes me feel that, you know, whatever, it never kills me, make me stronger, provided I'm optimistic.
Correct.
So you pick up, you know, learn from the lesson, pick up a good value, and kind of like, you know, learn the hard way,
Yeah.
because it's very, very hard to climb all the way back up.
But it becomes stepping stones
Exactly.
for you to be where you are today.
Yeah, it's a good lesson though. So, but, you know, if I can change, I want to be, because that downfall is pretty tough.
Of
Very,
course,
very
yeah.
tough. It is. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I would like to go back 25 years old.
Nice. Thank you for sharing that. All right. And I'll ask you one more question.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Which is stronger, willpower or fear?
I would say willpower.
In what way?
I'll give you an example. Last year, I brought my daughters to Taiwan.
Right.
It was a very good 9 days trip in Taiwan where we enjoyed a lot of tourist attraction. So the last day we have the firework in the 101 Tower. Good fireworks. So I asked my daughter, what do you want to do the next day? They said, Papa, we're very tired, 9 days already. So maybe the next day I want to do a little bit more simple, relaxed kind of thing. Okay, so I said, fine. Well, then I said that let's go for the night view from the Yangming Shan,
Right.
Yangming Mountain. You have a very good view of Taipei City. So we went on, and we go on to the museum because it is just not too far away from the mountain. About 5 o'clock, we went all the way up to that mountain by taking bus. So I missed the bus stop. That was the first mistake I had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that literally means that I need to take more walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they only stop halfway, I could climb.
Oh, all right.
It is, So the second thing I made is that I never expected it was so cold. Very, very cold.
Oh, dear.
Very cold. And the kids was like, they were hungry because it's about 7 o'clock. So along the journey, the youngest one feel a bit hungry, and the eldest was crying, saying, we are so cold. Very, very cold. So I asked them, now, you want to go all the way back to take another bus, another 30 minutes walk down all the way, or let's never give up, fight
Right.
while we're climbing the hill.
Right.
And with the mutual consensus, let's do it. 10, 15 minutes later, or better than 30 minutes,
Yeah,
you will
yeah,
take the
yeah.
route. We reached the peak. Spectacular, awesome view. So about a month ago, I asked my eldest daughter, Jeje, what is actually the most spectacular, the awesome tourist attraction? So the eldest daughter was saying this, I think it is the mountain, the night view.
Wow.
I asked why. He said, well, it's great, but because it's very cold, very, very cold. And that makes, cast in his memory. So I think that, so I asked her, what have you learned from there? I said, well, she doesn't know what is willpower, what is
Yeah.
never give up. But I just said, just climb, don't talk too much, just go
Just
for
do it.
Just do it.
Yeah.
So if a 7-year-old daughter knows the value of never give up, I think, there's something I want to tell everyone,
Yeah.
especially VHRN.
Yes.
We should not give up.
Wow.
We should fight.
Wow. That's very inspiring, actually.
Thank you. I mean, this is what I believe in. I mean, I've been through up and down, but we should never give up.
Right. Okay. And before we end our time on the show,
Sure.
perhaps you have some last bits of advice that you would like to share with some of our viewers?
Sure. Think big, start small, build strong. Well, I think for Gen Y,
Yeah.
let's talk about Gen
Okay,
Y.
let's talk about Gen Y. Yeah.
I think the key value or the key transferable skill that you have to equip yourself would be communication. Be it verbal, be it non-verbal. So tell your message loud and clear to the audience, because this is going to lead you very, very, very far.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that today.
Thank you for
and
having
that's
me.
all the time we have today on the Leaderonomics Show. Tune in again another time.